Glitch, it's Nicola here, and I am joined with
Teresa. Good morning. And oh my God, what a week this was. Holy cow, buckle up.
yeah. I mean, like what we want to do today, guys, is we really want to have a really good look at Bitcoin, zooming out, zooming in, and get our heads around what happened with that big dump on new moon, and which we've been warning you about for 2 weeks. We were saying dump incoming, dump incoming. It started just before the new moon, and as the new moon came in, we got that traditional new moon dump. So you all should have known about that. And if you were in our Discord server, we've been warning you to put your buy orders in low at those cheeky buy orders levels, so you'd all be in profit now. However, there were some people that got caught out and got liquidated. So that is all the more reason for you to subscribe to our channel, and also to our, let me do that for you, to our Discord server at Conscious Crypto. So you just go into Discord and look up Conscious Crypto. So Teresa, I'm going to start with you. When you look at this chart on the weekly, what's the first thing that you see?
Well, the first thing I see is we might be developing a potential head and shoulders. So really big warning there. And we've definitely got a bottom support line that's forming here that we've hit 3 times. So those are my 2 big watches right now.
Yeah. I'll draw that out. So we've got the technical target for that. I just want to be really big picture right now. The very first thing I see is that this bottom here hit perfectly the resistance line that we were in for, if we go back here and we put this line in, we hit it perfectly. And you remember when we were going through, it was 2.5 months of going up and down, up and down, up and down, to hit this resistance. And then we finally broke through, and we came back down, retested it as support came back up. We have come back up again. So that's the first thing I see. Also, what I'm seeing is this is the W, right? The W played out perfectly. Look at that. If we put that there, and often when we get a big pattern target, whenever we reach a big pattern target, that we fell short of it, just fell a little short, right? Didn't quite reach the target. Often we get that retracement afterwards. So that's the other thing I see. I want to draw in the Fibonacci levels. If we draw the Fibonacci levels from swing low here, where we bottomed out in this whole move, and we come to the top there, I'm going to expand that for you. That line here past the golden ratio. Now, if any of you watch Carl from the Moon, he set his swing low at a different place to get the golden ratio was exactly where this wick hit. Totally hit the golden ratio. So the story would be we've found support at the golden ratio, we're above it, and now we've got support. Let's see if we're going up. But when I did it from the swing low, which is what I like to do, where's the lowest point of this whole move to the highest point? We went below the golden ratio, but we're trading above it. So for me, Teresa, that kind of says that if we don't fulfill this head and shoulders, we may come down to the golden ratio at 44,166.
Yeah. There's a couple possible scenarios that could play out here. This could just be a minor correction on the way up, right? Like, because we always need to catch footholds on the way up. But that small head and shoulders that may be forming, if it does play out and trace down, then that could form the head of an even bigger head and shoulders. If we take the action that we saw back in April, May, the April through May timeframe as the left shoulder, and all of this middle action since as the head, if the price comes down into, the lower Fibonacci level, which is very possible, right? If we do retrace down, then we've got a really massive head and shoulders on our hands. Now, I don't think that's the most probable scenario, but whenever I see a pattern like this, my brain goes, That's a possibility. I better be having my wits about me right now and watching what's going on. Okay, so I'm not trading that right now. I'm not planning for it right now, but I'm paying attention, because whenever we see this kind of clear shape starting to form, you want to have that in the back of your head, because if they do play out, these are massive trading opportunities, right? And in a world of pandemics, we don't know, there's the way the market should behave on the four-year cycle. We're in the middle of one of the biggest black swan events in history, right? And by black swan event, I just mean in hindsight, it was predictable, but in foresight, we really don't know what the markets are doing, because this is a economic event of global proportion.
You're talking about the pandemic, right?
Yeah, the recession and the overprinting of money and that happening at the same time that cryptocurrency is coming on board. So we always have to keep in the back of our mind that the macro level forces at play here might do stuff that are way out of line with what we think the normal pattern should be. So that's all I'm bringing that into the forefront, because if those macro level forces play out, those are opportunities to make massive amounts of money if you call them right when they happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Teresa, can you guys put in the chat? Can you go and look in the chat? Are we still streaming? Because something like we've had a lot of technical issues today, and it doesn't look like we're streaming. So I just want to know if we're streaming. Just something's happened. Can you check the chat, because I can't see it?
We don't have anybody in the chat right now, but it does look on YouTube like we're still streaming, Nicola.
Oh, yep, here we are. Great. Okay, guys, cool. Yeah, I don't know if I would call this a head and shoulders simply because we've gone below the neckline. Mm-hmm. And usually with the head and shoulders, you've got to touch the neckline exactly, right? But still,
exactly it's not right now. It's something we're just paying attention to, right? Like when we have these patterns starting to form, just always have that in the back of your mind. Could this form a head and shoulders? Because that is a major turnaround pattern, right? Yeah. And the last time we saw a major head and shoulders in the market, up when Bitcoin, yeah, exactly. When we saw that, there was a massive dump over the space of a week that if you traded it right, you either got wrecked or you made massive amounts of money, right? Yeah. So I'm just putting these thoughts in your guys' minds, because if you see them and you call them correctly when they do happen, these are opportunities to make massive amounts of money if you don't deer in the headlights when they're happening. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And on that note, talking about deer in the headlights, our ninjas knew that this was coming because we'd had our cheeky buy orders in really low for the dip. We've been talking about the new moon phases, and if you want to learn more about what we're doing and you want to learn some of the trading strategies that we're doing, I'm doing a free live webinar this week. The link is in the description below, and you can go over and sign up for that webinar. I can't remember if it's on a Thursday or a Wednesday, but sign up for that and have a look at what we're doing. And what's going to be really important in this live webinar is looking at strategies, rethinking things, what kind of mindset you need to go into this, as well as looking specifically at some strategies you can be looking at for this next coming end cycle. And like the bottom line is that we need to answer the question, was this the top? Which is exactly what we were asking when we were trading down here. In this pattern here, we were asking, is this the top? And for me personally, my personal opinion is that we're elongating the market, and this is what the elongation of the bear market looks like. So we're, instead of December being the end of the bull run and then we go into a 2-year bear run cycle where we just keep going down, I think what we're seeing is kind of like the ship is turning, and it's a bit painful, and we're seeing an elongation. I think we've had too many red candles this week to close out in a red candle this week. So I want to see a green candle, and the structure is still bullish. because this just created a higher low, right? We've created a higher high here, and then we've created a higher low. So now what we can be looking at is this potentially being a rising wedge. And we are now wanting to see, will we come lower and touch the bottom of the wedge at around 38,834, in which case we've still created a higher low if we count this, but on the shorter term time frame, we've created a lower low, bounce off of here and come back up to the top, where we will then end up being up, around 80,000 up to 100,000. Or is this the bottom? And or even down here at 44271. Personally, I wouldn't short this myself. I would wait for the long, just because we are in a strong, larger time frame uptrend. But what we want to do now is we want to go to the daily, and we want to talk about the moon phases that we talk about on this channel. And let me bring them in. The top turquoise is new moon, and the bottom dark blue is the full moon. Now, the story goes, in terms of the pattern, is that whenever we get a new moon, it's usually at the top of a run, and then we come down, and the full moon is usually the bottom of the run, and then we get a reverse to the upside. That is a pattern that has been broken a couple of times as we go through, but it's a general pattern, right? Not a specific pattern. So if we have a look at this new moon, we broke down on new moon, but we came right back up, created a high, and on full moon, we actually dumped down a little bit and then came up to the new moon for the high. So we did break here, and we could be seeing another break here on the daily, where here's the full moon. We expected a pump on the full moon. We got it, but we failed to go above this here, this price target here. And on the new moon, we certainly got the new moon dump. Usually it happens the day before, the day of, or the day after. In this instance, it started happening the day of, but it dumped seriously on the actual day. So this is why I'm saying this. Normally speaking, from new moon to full moon, we see downward price action, or price action going sideways. However, the second to last, here we go, here, look, new moon, full moon, continue going down. But the second to last new moon to full moon, we didn't do that. We came down, then we pumped up, and we dumped. So why I'm saying this is, we often talk a lot about the new moon. We don't want to expect what we've been expecting before, because like I said before, is that we're shifting the pattern, right? Teresa, do you want to talk a little bit about that? How everybody's expecting the pattern to be the same, but why we might not have the same bull cycle pattern?
Yeah, everything in trading is probabilities, risks and probabilities, right? And when we start to see patterns in the market, those patterns increase the probabilities of certain things happening, right? So we know new moon, full moon is definitely a pattern, right? But there may be bigger patterns at play that can override the pattern we normally see at any given time, right? So personally, I never trade based on one pattern alone. Like, you guys get what I'm saying? In other words, you want to trade the patterns you see in the markets. Like, do you see a bull flag? Do you see a head and shoulders? Do you see a cup and handle? You want to pay attention to, are we in a Mercury retrograde? Because that often represents a market turnaround. Is there a full moon, new moon pattern playing out? But also then we've got these black swan events, like COVID in general is a game changer, right? So you always have to know that certain probabilities might not play out. You want to be considering, what coin are you looking at, right? Bitcoin's got enough market cap that it performs the way a currency should perform in currency trading. But if you're looking at like a metaverse coin with a really small market cap, you always got to know the probabilities are going to be different when you're dealing with like lesser probabilities when you're dealing with a coin with a really small market cap, right? So you always want to be looking at multiple trends multiple patterns and multiple indicators. I really believe Willy Woo has nailed it when he says the 4-year cycle may be over, guys, because the Bitcoin miners are no longer the dominant holders of Bitcoin. And that 4-year cycle was precipitated by the Bitcoin mining cycle, right? And so I do think the 4-year cycle is still going to be at play, just in a much weaker fashion. So now we have to look at the other more dominant market forces right now, right? So what's going on right now is not precipitated by Bitcoin. It's precipitated by what's going on in the S&P 500 in the major markets, and that's spilling over into the cryptocurrency markets, right? So we've always got to be paying attention to those macro level forces when we're making gut calls of how we trade. I'm with Nicola. I'm not shorting this market right now. Shorting is too risky because there's too many competing indicators.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that there aren't going to be opportunities to make massive amounts of money. Like, thank God for cheeky buy orders, because those are really making me money lately. Just having buy orders down in at the Fibonacci sequences.
Yeah.
But I'm not at the point right now where I'm holding those orders open for long periods of time, waiting for this bull run to continue, because personally, I don't think that's the trading pattern at this point in time. Yeah. I think there's equal probability that we might be seeing, okay, that was the bottom of this correction, we're going up. We might also be seeing a double bottom here. So I'm in a wait and see mode right now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so, you know, when we were back, when we had the very, very big dump and we were back trading up and down, you know, during May, June, July, we were saying we're shifting our trading strategy to take profit as soon as we hit resistance and not leave the trades open day after day after day, expecting the bull run to continue while we were in that correction. And I would say that the same thing is true now. Which is in ninjas, we talk a lot about cheeky buy orders. And as soon as we hit resistance, we take 50% out because we're retracing so much. When we're in the volatility and when we're looking at, you know, the shifting of where we're going to go. The RSI on the daily and on the 4-hourly is at the bottom here. It's down at around 35. So we could see a little bit more downward action, but really we're kind of, we're due for a swing back up. And what happened last time, we had a big dump to the downside. This is the warning. Now we're going to get positive. Now we're going to get bullish. This is the warning, right? The last time we had this scenario where we dumped heavily and everybody was calling this a bear flag. So shorts were going in like crazy in the retail market, right? What happened was there was a little bit of a fake out. We got a U-turn and this became a Bart Simpson inverse. Remember that, Teresa?
Yeah.
Boom. So we are, so we're saying here, what we want to do when you enter your trades is you want to wait for a reaction on the charts to know that we're definitely going down or we're definitely going up. And the problem with shorting is that if this Fibonacci level is correct, this could be the support level where we're going to create a higher low. And if it's not correct, as in it's not going to be observed, then this bear flag would play out and go down to the next level of resistance at 38,358, in which case I think we are again on nervous ground that we could go lower. But my sense of it is that this is, Teresa, this is looking more and more and more like the last time everybody thought we were going down and we got that big pump to the upside and it ended up being a Bart Simpson. So how do we know which direction it's going to go? Well, we've just got to watch the indicators. And this is one of the things I'm talking about in the webinar this week and the masterclass that you want to come to. It's free. The link is in the description below this video. Go and register for it. It will be recorded too if you can't come to it live. But if you come to it live, you get to ask questions. What Teresa and I spoke about last Wednesday is your technical analysis training needs to be sharpened. My technical analysis training needs to be sharpened. I just paid for another course, right? Every time the market is shifting or it's breaking patterns, that's the time to get educated. That's the time to invest in ourselves so that we can just have more at our fingertips and more knowledge at our fingertips to be ready for when the market goes one way or the other. So if we bring in the Ichimoku cloud, the Ichimoku cloud is showing another potential dump, but because this is the 4 hour, that's not necessarily reliable. We can also come up and cut right through that and come to the top there. So I want to go down into the 1 hour. And have a look at, have a look at this. Oopsie. And for those of you who are scalping, this is a clear range. But now what I'm looking at, look at that, Teresa. Now what I'm looking at is, are we getting an upward sloping support? And are we getting a downward sloping? And if this thing does not break out in the next couple of hours, we've gone way past. Well, we've actually gone way past this being a bear pennant or a bear flag. This is where we would have broken out if this was a traditional bear pennant or a bear flag. When we keep going sideways like this, this is when we're in danger of reversing to the upside. And well, not danger. I used the wrong word there.
Probability.
Probability. Thank you. Yeah.
So one possible scenario that could play out here when we see this, like what could have been a bear pennant is now going on a bit too long. A common reversal pattern, if we're reversing to the upside, is in fact the W. We could see a wick to the downside before we reverse back up, right? And if that happens, personally, if it is a reversal pattern, I would expect the wick to come down to the Fibonacci. W's are stronger when the second dip of the W hits a higher price point in the market than the first dip of the W. So personally, I got a cheeky buy order in at that fib line right there. Right? Yeah, because if we see a second dip to the W, we might see a strong wick down, and that's actually the signal for the market reversal. Yeah. Right. So I personally would never short that. That's not high enough probability for me to be willing to short something like that. But we could see a strong wick down that signals the second half of a W pattern here that actually is a double bottom and a trend reversal to the up. Yeah. So that's another possibility to watch out for, not to trade as the short, but to consider putting a cheeky buy order in at that level.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Teresa, we've got CAD G has said, can you look at the Bitcoin dominance market cap, please? It looks like there is a bullish divergence in the weekly. I don't have that chart set up today. Do you have it set up that you can flip over to?
Keep talking and I'll see if I can pull it up.
Well, what I wanted to say was the Ichimoku cloud has flipped the first step bullish. There are 3 steps that we look for bullish momentum shifting from bearish to bullish. That is the conversion line, which is green, going above the baseline red, and that flipped here, right here. This is where it flips. So we've got green above red, so that's starting to look bullish. The second thing we want to look for is the lagging span is in resistance right now because it's in the price action. We want to see that come above the Ichimoku cloud. When that's the step 2 that happens, sometimes they're reversed, they don't always happen in order, then we know we're starting to get some bullish momentum coming in. Then the next step for a long that you can have certainty on is the cavalry. And the cavalry coming is the green cloud. And at the moment, we've got red cloud. So we would need some kind of price manipulation, some kind of whale coming in and buying up, a frenzied buy up in order to overcome this red Ichimoku cloud and get to the top of it for us to start being bullish within this current patterning. At the moment, this pattern is looking like we're trading sideways, and we may break out, and we may be trading sideways till the 7th of December, which is tomorrow, and then and then just be trading within this range. This range is good for scalpers with higher leverage, right? Smaller moves and what have you. That's really cool. So yeah, Teresa, are you ready to have a look?
Yeah, can you make it so I can share my screen?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay, let me. Oh, there we go. I was hitting the wrong thing. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's look at Bitcoin dominance. So
Teresa and I have dramatically different charts. Thumbs up if you like mine with the dark background.
Everybody's
thumbs up if you like Teresa's.
So the reason I have different colored charts is I color code my charts so that I always know which view I'm looking at instantly when I click to a chart. So my weekly and my daily charts are the lightest colors. And my hourly and my 5-minute, my scalping charts are like blue and pink. So that I always know when I flip open a chart, I don't actually have to look up here to see what time frame I'm on. I know instantly what time frame I'm on. Anyway, we're looking at Bitcoin dominance here. We are seeing on the RSI, but not on the stochastic RSI. You're right. There is a divergence here, right? So we're seeing here
He's saying there's a bullish divergence
and a higher high. Yeah, that's interesting.
It's a bearish divergence.
This is a bearish divergence, which we could say played out. And then the bullish divergence, I'm seeing a low and a higher low, a low. Well, this is almost like a linear support line.
That would be the bullish divergence that might have already played out as well.
And then we've got
Teresa,
an upward trend line here, right?
Yeah.
Give me a comment if that's what you're seeing or if there's something else I'm missing that you're wanting me to look at.
Because when I look at that, oops, you want to go back to your chart?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just looking at the comments.
I'll call them out for you.
Okay, whoops, no, I can't get back to my chart. Hang on.
One for all, Bitcoin to 150. Okay. Yeah, at some stage.
Okay. Well, the other thing I'm seeing here is that we're not seeing the same divergence in the stochastic that we are in the RSI. Okay. So whenever I look at divergences, I always want to know, are we seeing the same divergences in both RSIs? Because the stochastics RSI is just calculated differently than the regular RSI, but they're both momentum indicators, right? So if I'm going to place a lot of weight on a divergence, I personally like to see it in both places.
Yeah.
So because the stochastics is performing differently than the RSI here, for me personally, that gives me less probability that it's signaling a really strong move in the market. Okay. But that said, this is definitely an upward trend while we've got a linear bottoming.
We've got a linear bottom there, yeah.
Yeah, so I certainly see what you're saying here from the standpoint, like if you guys see what I'm talking about here.
Yeah, if you draw that as a descending triangle, which is a bearish pattern, we may start, we may start to see an altcoin season. And certainly when you look at altcoins like metaverse coins, like DeFi coins, even Ethereum, they've bounced back and are looking more bullish than Bitcoin. And that could be a signal that we're getting an altcoin, we're getting an altcoin season.
Yeah, so we could be seeing an upward correction here. I would be placing more weight on that upward correction. In other words, Bitcoin dominance coming back up if I was seeing it in both RSIs, in the stochastic and the RSI. But generally, if Bitcoin's going sideways, we're seeing an altcoin season. So this is, I would call this sideways movement of Bitcoin dominance. So, it is a good time to be looking at the altcoins. Personally, I think the metaverse coins are definitely worth paying attention to right now, especially with the level of volatility we're seeing in them. Those are great opportunities to make money.
Yeah. And on that note, just before we finish and we look at some trading ideas, like what do you need to look for to get into a trade here? Let me just, dirty screen there. We'd love your comments. If you'd like us to do a whole day event on investing in NFTs, metaverse, DeFi, because we have been saying that we may get an elongated opportunity to move money out of Bitcoin into altcoins, then into metaverse, and then into NFTs, so that you can elongate the bull market. We've been talking about this for a month and a half now. And if you would like some training on investing in those, we're looking at possibly doing a one-day event at the end of January, no, probably February. But if you would come to that and you'd be interested in doing that, spending a day on learning how to invest and trade in those areas, we would love your comments in the comment section below. And because if we don't get people saying, hey, yes, we want to do that, then it's not it's not something that we'll put our energy into to bring to you. But we think it's a great idea, and we think it would have a lot of value for you. So trading ideas here, this is what we want to watch out for. We want to watch out for a break to the upside, and then a retest of this line here, so we know that this line is no longer resistance, it is support, and come up. This is the conservative entry point, where you enter on the green candle above where we actually broke out before we retrace. That is the conservative approach. There will be people who will enter the breakout, and if you do that, that is a bit riskier. You want to make sure the green candle bottom clears. It's not just going to roll over, in which case, right, boom, we could get a fake out. It needs to be the bottom of the green candle needs to have finished the hour and cleared the bottom of this line. Even better if it's a 4-hour candle, clear and enter. And one of the reasons why that might be a risk that you might want to consider is that if this does become a inverse Bart-Simpson, will take off really fast and look how this happened in 3 hours, 1, 2, 3. Right, it could happen the same in 3 hours, 1, 2, 3. So we might not get the retracement until further on. So just watch for that. If we break to the downside, and we haven't spoken about the CME gap.
Yeah.
So that would be the first target, right? The first target would be 50. What is it? Blah, 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 blah. Oh crap! I can't remember what it is. It's at 51,630.
I would have to go check. Bitcoin one.
So remember CME gaps, we have a really big one. The CME closed above where we traded over the weekend.
51,680.
What is it?
51,680 it looks like. I'm just looking at it on the weekly though, so that's not a super accurate number.
51,680, right?
Yeah.
So it is possible that by Thursday we could be back up here. Because often the CME gap, 98% of the time, the CME gap is closed. 80% of the time it's closed within the first week, all right? So that's the good news. That's the bullish news. So that's that target there. And then if you, the inverse Bart-Simpson target goes above that, it goes up to 53,000. So that could be another target for a long. If you are not going to listen to us, because these are our opinions, right? And you don't have to listen to our opinions. And if you want to short this is what you're going to watch out for. You want to see a red candle break to the downside, a retracement back to the support, the resistance line, to see has support now flipped resistance, and then that trade that you enter in is on the top of the red candle going below where we originally broke out of. Then you're going to need to watch what happens here at the golden ratio at 44,162. That might be a limit take profit that you take automatically in case we bounce off of that and come back up and don't fulfill the short all the way down to the target of that bear flag, if it becomes a bear flag at 38,314. So we're watching this throughout the day and every day over at our Discord server, and it's called Conscious Crypto. So you just head on over to Discord and type in Conscious Crypto and you should find us there. Technical analysis is, we're updating it regularly so that you can follow along. And anything else you want to say before we end, Teresa? We've gone just over half an hour here.
Yeah, let's give another shout out to the webinar, because I think that is definitely, you guys want to be on that. This is a time to really up your game from a standpoint of your skills, right? And we're really committed on this channel to helping you guys up your game on the skills, because sideways markets are opportunities to make massive amounts of money. But you got to understand what you're doing. Like any idiot can make money in a bull market, because everything's going up, you're going to make money. In a sideways or a downward market, that's where your skill level really needs to go up, right? And if you don't invest in your own skill level, then, I would say just get out of the market. You need to be investing in yourself so that your investments can work.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And we always say, whatever you don't invest in yourself, you lose. in a losing trade because you didn't know something, right? Or something didn't connect, or the mindset wasn't there to support what you knew, and then you didn't follow through on what you knew. So those things are really important. So for those of you who are coming to the live webinar, I actually just dropped the link in the chat. It is also under the video in the description area. I will see you there live. You're going to get to talk to me if you want to, ask lots of questions if you need to, and we're going to dive deep into the way we're looking at strategies, how we think the market is going to move, and everything that you need to put in place to make sure you actually capitalize on this. I'm still calling it a super cycle, Teresa.
Yes.
It's just the delayed super cycle.
I think, we all know the highest probability is Bitcoin's keeping it going up, right? Like we know it's going upward. We just got to make sure we don't get, thrown off the roller coaster on the way up. Like really that's the game, right? So if you can't make the webinar live, still register so you can get the recording. We're diving into the more advanced skill sets. A lot of you already are first Dan, second Dan black belts at this. If you want to become a 5th Dan, 6th Dan, 7th Dan black belt, you've got to learn from other black belts. That's why Nicola and I are always learning from other experts, because you got to keep, as Stephen Covey would say, keep sharpening the saw, right? You should be investing at least 3-4 hours every week in your learning, right? So just register for the webinar, come live. If you can't come live, listen to the recording.
Yeah, and great. Thanks, Chaotic Coder. We're actually really appreciative of all your support. I know you do some great work with DaVinci J15, who we love and adore as well. So thanks for that, guys. And we are going to go live again on Wednesday at our usual live stream. If you're new to our channel, we're a tutorial channel. We're teaching technical analysis, market analysis, as well as scenario trading. Today, we told you a couple of scenarios: 1, black swan events; 2, the moon phases, and how that can affect price action. And if you're interested in learning all of that and becoming a black belt in trading cryptocurrency, you want to subscribe, hit the bell, click all, so you get notified when we go live and when we upload videos daily. So we'll see you on Wednesday, and we'll see you at the live webinar.
Yeah, until next time. Trade consciously.
Bye, guys.